Welcome to Trending Today podcast. Everything you missed today in 15 minutes. It's amazing to think, isn't it? When we imagine prehistoric Earth, we often default to dinosaurs roaming among giant trees, right?
Totally. Lush jungles, ferns, the whole bit. But that image is missing a key player and a much, much older one.
Exactly. Sharks. These magnificent creatures predate trees by a mind-boggling 50 million years. 50 million years.
50 million. Wow. That's a serious head start. So while the land was still figuring itself out, sharks were already the top predators in the ocean?
Precisely. The Silurian period, roughly 420 million years ago, that's when the ancestors of modern sharks first appeared. Now picture this.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
These weren't exactly the great whites we see today. Early sharks like Cladocelosh
Which, by the way, I learned about from John Long's The Rise of Fishes, a great read, by the way.
were torpedo-shaped, built for speed, hunting primitive fish. And get this, their skeletons weren't made of bone.
Oh? Cartilage?
Yes, cartilage. Lightweight, flexible, gave them a huge advantage in speed and agility, essential for evading larger predators, you see.
Makes sense. So, smaller, faster, cartilaginous, quite different from what we think of as a shark, huh?
And their teeth, not replaceable like modern sharks. Smooth, designed for grasping, not tearing.
Interesting. So, while these early sharks were evolving and thriving in the oceans, what was happening on land?
Not much. Still pretty barren. It wasn't until about 370 million years ago that the first trees showed up. A full 50 million years after sharks had already made their debut.
So, sharks were ruling the oceans long before the first forests even existed? Unbelievable.
So we're talking about sharks, right? These incredible creatures that have been around for, well, a ridiculously long time.
Longer than trees, even. Can you believe that? Sharks predate trees by 50 million years. It's mind-blowing.
It really is. 420 million years ago, during the Silurian period. Imagine the Earth then. Mostly water, right?
Yeah, and these early sharks, they weren't like the great whites we see today. They were, how did that book put it? Torpedo-shaped.
Cladocelosh, that's the one. Built for speed, hunting primitive fish. Imagine them darting through the ancient oceans.
And they're skeletons, not bone, right? Cartilage?
Exactly. Lightweight, flexible, gave them an edge in speed and agility. Imagine having to evade even larger predators, as the first sharks must have.
That makes a lot of sense. So these sharks evolved and then dominated before even trees were part of the equation, is that right?
So these early sharks, like Cladocelosh, only about 6 feet long, right? Not exactly giants.
Yeah, surprisingly small. But that size probably worked to their advantage. Think about it, smaller, more agile, easier to maneuver.
Exactly. And that cartilaginous skeleton, really key to their success.
Oh, absolutely. Lightweight, flexible. Must have made them incredibly fast.
Think about dodging those bigger predators. That flexibility was crucial.
And unlike the bony fish of the time,
They had that extra edge, speed and agility, a winning combination.
now the teeth, something I found fascinating, they weren't replaceable?
Nope, not like modern sharks. Smooth, designed for grasping, not tearing. So a different hunting strategy altogether.
Huh. So, snatch and grab rather than bite and tear. Interesting.
While they were thriving in the oceans, what was happening on land at this point?
Well, according to what we've learned, pretty desolate, right, Baron?
Exactly. Sharks were already top predators millions of years before the first trees even appeared. Pretty wild to think about.
Absolutely mind-boggling. The oceans teeming with these agile, cartilaginous predators, while the land just rocks and, well, not much else.
So these early sharks were already thriving, right? Millions of years before the first trees even sprouted on land.
It's incredible. Like, picture it. Sharks swimming around while the land is still mostly barren rock. Then, around 370 million years ago, boom trees.
Yeah. And not the majestic oaks and redwoods we think of today. These early trees were different.
More like a primitive, simpler structures, I'm guessing.
Exactly. But still, a huge step in the evolution of land ecosystems. I mean, trees changing the landscape, creating habitats, you know? A total game changer.
Totally. Providing shade, altering the soil, creating opportunities for other life forms to evolve. While sharks, meanwhile, were already the kings and queens of the ocean.
Already ruling their domain, and then, fast forward a few hundred million years, and sharks have survived 5 mass extinction events. 5.
5 mass extinctions. That's unbelievable. They saw the dinosaurs come and go, witnessed continents shifting, ice ages, the whole shebang.
Talk about resilience. I mean, surviving all that, they're a testament to how well adapted they are.
It really is. From those early torpedo-shaped Cladocelosh to the great whites of today, they've seen it all. Incredible.
So these sharks, right, they've been around for, well, practically forever. Surviving all those mass extinctions, that's got to be because of how adaptable they are.
Definitely. And it's not just luck. They have some serious biological advantages, like their teeth, they can just regrow them.
Yeah. Imagine having a fresh set of teeth whenever you need them. Talk about a dental plan.
Seriously, and their sense is unbelievable. They can smell blood from miles away, literally. And sense electrical fields? How cool is that?
Super cool. It's like they have a sixth sense. Plus, their immune systems are incredibly robust, resistant to so many diseases.
Which you'd think after 420 million years would give them some serious street cred, right? Like, hey, I've survived everything the universe has thrown at me, step aside.
Exactly. Kings and queens of the ocean for millions of years. But there's a catch.
There's always a catch, isn't there? What is it?
Well, despite all that resilience, despite everything they've survived, they're facing a new threat. And it's a big one. Yeah. Let me guess us. Humans. Sadly, we're the ones putting these incredible creatures at risk.
That's disheartening. After all that time, all that survival, we come along and mess it all up. How?
So we've talked about sharks' incredible history, their resilience. But there's this dark side to the story, isn't there?
Yeah, it's tough to talk about, but we have to. We're talking about the threats sharks face today, right?
Exactly. And the biggest one, the one that's really pushing them towards the brink, it's us.
Humans. We're the danger. After everything they've survived, we come along and, yeah, it's heavy.
It really is. And a lot of it boils down to, well, one thing in particular, shark fin soup.
The billion-dollar industry, it's sickening, really, that this demand, this culinary tradition is driving so many species towards extinction.
It's a brutal practice. They catch these sharks, slice off their fins, and often just throw them back into the ocean to die. They can't swim, they can't breathe. It's horrific.
It's beyond cruel. And for what? For a bowl of soup? It's hard to comprehend.
And the impact goes way beyond just the individual sharks. We're talking about disrupting entire ecosystems, right? Sharks are apex predators. They're essential.
Absolutely. They keep populations of other fish in check. They act as scavengers, cleaning up the ocean floor. They're crucial for maintaining the delicate balance of the marine environment.
Exactly. It's like removing the keystone from an arch. The whole thing can collapse.
And the numbers are terrifying. Global shark populations have declined by more than 70%. That's a crisis.
It's terrifying, really. 70%. I mean, where does that leave us? Where does that leave the ocean?
In a precarious position, that's for sure. It's like we're pulling a thread from a tapestry, not realizing the whole thing could unravel.
Exactly. Sharks are a keystone species. Their decline has a ripple effect throughout the entire marine ecosystem.
And we're already seeing the consequences, right? I mean, overfishing of sharks can lead to imbalances in fish populations, disrupting the food chain, damaging coral reefs, even affecting the ocean's ability to absorb carbon dioxide.
It's a domino effect, really. And the scariest part is, we don't even fully understand the long-term consequences. We're messing with a system that's been in place for hundreds of millions of years. We don't know what will happen when we remove a key component like sharks.
And it's not just shark finning, right? There's bycatch, habitat destruction, pollution. We're assaulting them on multiple fronts.
It's a multi-pronged attack, and they're not equipped to deal with it. They evolved to survive meteor strikes, not this.
It's tragic, isn't it? These ancient, resilient creatures brought down by us. It's a heavy burden to bear.
It is, but I mean, it's not too late, right? We can still turn things around.
There's still hope. How? What can we do?
Well, first, awareness. Educating people about the importance of sharks, the devastating impact of shark finning. That's crucial.
Yeah. Get the word out. Let people know what's happening, what's at stake.
And then policy changes. Stricter regulations on fishing practices, creating marine protected areas, cracking down on the illegal fin trade. These are all essential steps.
We need governments to step up, to take action, and we need to hold them accountable.
And then, consumer choices. People need to understand where their seafood comes from, make sustainable choices, refuse to support businesses that contribute to shark finning.
Vote with your wallet. Support businesses that are doing the right thing. And spread the word. Talk to your friends, your family, your colleagues. Make sure everyone knows what's happening.
Little bit helps.
Absolutely. Even small changes can make a big difference. We just have to act now.
Exactly. It's like narrator said, when you see a tree, remember the sharks. Remember their history, their importance, and our responsibility to protect them.
Because their survival is intrinsically linked to the health of our oceans and the health of our planet. Thanks for tuning in to Trending Today. We'll catch you next time with another insightful episode. Bye, everyone.